Good evening, you're watching Hungary Reports, kicking off public media and one's foreign language news hour. I'm Morsha Flum, thanks for joining us. The authorities took actions against nearly 200 illegal immigrants at the Hungarian border sections last weekend. Smaller groups, mostly of men, tried to cross the border on foot, but there were some who attempted to enter Hungary in a hold of a truck's trailer. Currently, most of the attempts take place on the Hungarian-Romanian border.
This is what the city center of Magyarkanisa in Vojvodina looked like on Sunday afternoon. Migrants were sitting on every bench. Groups of migrants were cooling down in the park and under trees as well. They were waiting for evening to fall and make their way to the Hungarian border to illegally cross the green border. Here in Hungary on the weekend, more than 200 illegal border attempts were addressed by the authorities. Numbers of those caught for illegally crossing the border have risen over the course of the past few weeks. Last night was also quite busy. In the morning, 16 migrants were stopped by the police in the county of WATERMILL. Beforehand, police officers took action several times in the counties of Bács-Kiskun and Baranya. Recently, the authorities have encountered the most issues at the Romanian border section. On Sunday night, 11 Afghan citizens were caught near Sarkad. The police officers handed them over to the Romanian authorities. However, on the weekend, a larger group was also apprehended. This year, more than 2.5 times more illegal border crossing attempts have occurred at the Romanian-Serbian border section compared to last year. The increase can be experienced on the Hungarian-Romanian border as well. This is what the Prime Minister's chief advisor on Homeland Security said to M1 News. György Bakondi added, the border control of the two countries, however, is effective. It works well. We would really like this type of cooperation in terms of internal security to stay as is permanently. Moreover, I do not think it is likely that we will think about changing the Hungarian border control system, György Bakondi said. György Bakondi pointed out that only strict border control can resolve the issue of illegal migration. According to the chief advisor, the situation in Western Europe is an example of this, where it is almost impossible to deport migrants. They either disappear or they evade the authorities.
Delivery of textbooks for the next school year has begun. Every full-time student will receive their textbooks free of charge in September. The State Secretary for Public Education said the supply process is also simplified, which eases the bureaucratic burden on educational institutions as well.
The shelves of this shopping mall in Budapest are fully loaded with school supplies. There are only a few customers and most of them are just looking around. If I take a look at a better quality pencil to draw with, it's rather expensive now, this onlooker said. This is the most popular school bag amongst youngsters in the stationery in Eger, but the shop is complaining about the turnover here as well. The owner says that many people are worried about the digital education being reintroduced from September. Looking back at the past years and decades, we usually experience much bigger interest in this period of the year. But we can say that the parents are constantly planning with the costs of schooling, and they are watching for sales, merchandise and supply, the store manager said. Apart from stores, the textbook publishers are getting ready for the new school year too. Tens of millions of textbooks for the next school year have already arrived at this storage. Distribution of the copies has just started. From this year on, every full-time student, that is more than 1 million of them, won't have to pay for school books anymore. Almost 160,000 more pupils will receive this benefit compared to last year. But this is not the only novelty this year. Ordering textbooks have become more simple for the schools as well. From this year on, the ministry will cover the prices of the school books directly. This means a significant relief for the institutions at administrative level as well. ZOLTÁN MARUZSA noted. He added that the government will spend almost 40 million euros on these measures.
The sufferers from allergy are facing a difficult season. Experts are expecting a high pollen concentration of ragweed this year. Blooming has just begun, but many are already suffering from runny nose, itchy eyes and sore throat.
Híradó and its area is a popular hiking spot amongst people living in Zalaegerszeg, but for those with pollen allergy, nature walks in the second half of summer is not carefree at all. I love to go on nature walks and hikes. Unfortunately, my allergy symptoms occur in the summer, and for a couple of days now, about a week, I have experienced my nose running more and more and my eyes are swollen. Now I only head off from home with tissues and nasal spray to try to prevent the symptoms from intensifying, this young man said. The presence of weed pollens are getting stronger and stronger in the air. The wormwood and the wild sorrel spread through the country cause the most problems for people with allergies currently. Experts are searching for ragweed-infected areas in the region of Nyíregyháza from up in the air too. Staff of the authority in Szabolcs-Szatmár-Bereg County are doing examination personally by helicopter and with drones too. They have found a flowering weed present on an area of 13 hectares so far. Following the exploration and the delivery of the notifications, the citizens usually go out and exterminate the weeds themselves. If not, then we will do it in the context of defense of public interest. Here, the amount of the fine ranges from 43 to even 14,500 euros, depending on the size of the area, which is a sufficient deterrent, Zoltán Gégén said. Since last year, it has been mandatory for landowners to exterminate ragweed not only from the 1st of July, but during the complete vegetation period. Despite of this, ragweed pollen concentration is expected to be very high this summer, the chairman of the Hungarian Allergy Association warned. He highlighted that this was bad news because allergy could cause more serious symptoms where the pollution was higher since pollens carried forward the contamination stuck to them. Pollens store the sulfur, nitrogen and other chemicals on their surface too. So if people inhale pollen, besides the allergy symptoms, the environmentally damaging and irritating materials can have a much worse effect on them than pollen, Kristóf Nékám said. The peak of the ragweed pollen dispersal is expected to be at the beginning of September. However, the allergy symptoms could only ease significantly after the first night frost.
Waste collection has begun on the river Tisza again. This year's Pet Cup has started. A fleet of 11 boats as well as 160 volunteers work to clean up the river every day. The action runs until Sunday. They are planning to collect 8 tons of garbage.
This is how the winners of last year's Pet Cup got down to this year's competition. Their boat floats and more than 1,000 repurposed plastic bottles. Last year, plastic waste was collected from Híradó to Záhony. This year, garbage was gathered from the river Tisza and its floodplain from Záhony to Tokaj. This year, 11 boats set off to complete the environmental water tour. This is the last section we haven't visited for years, and there's a lot of waste in the floodplain here. We hope to collect about 8 tons this year, and then we can say that with this amount, the Upper Tisza section will be relieved, the tournament director said. Since last autumn, the experts of the Upper Tisza District Water Directorate have collected waste, mainly from illegal landfills located abroad, with the help of a machine developed by Hungarians, from the Tisza and Somosh rivers. As a result, there are fewer tasks needed to be completed by the participants of the Pet Cup. The strategic goal set in the Climate and Nature Conservation Action Plan is to ensure that our rivers, especially the Tisza and Danube rivers, are cleared of plastic waste. To achieve this goal, the government adopted a proposal on the elimination of illegal landfills at the cabinet meeting on July the 15th of 2020, the state secretary said. Based on the bill, illegal rubbish dumped in recent decades could disappear from the environment of rivers, alongside railway facilities and from municipal public places. The Pet Cup lasts until Sunday. The amount of waste collected will be announced in Tokaj on that day.
The watermill in TÚRISTVÁnd is almost 300 years old, but it is in a rather good condition compared to its age. The monument, located in a wonderful environment on the bank of the river Túr, tells of a time when the locals ground the wheat for making bread here. The watermill, which is still functional today, houses a museum displaying the history of the building and a miller's craft. Those interested can visit the museum all year round. VAJDAHUNYAD castle, located in the city park of Budapest, was built for the millennium celebrations of 1896 as a copy of a Gothic castle in Transylvania. The aim was to amalgamate the most significant elements and the finest buildings of the millennial Hungarian architecture into a single eclectic palace. The castle is a popular tourist attraction by Lake Városliget and home of several festivals, concerts, and the Hungarian Agriculture Museum. That's all for now, but I'll be back tomorrow night at around the same time, and you can catch Hungary reports online as well. Please stay tuned for our German, Russian, and Chinese language news. Thanks for watching. Take care. Good night.